that a hawk?
I don't know, but it looks peaceful. How amazing is this?
Pretty amazing. At this point in your life, does silence scare you?
No. No. I've always found it peaceful, and I think it's important to like connect with people to a point where silence is comfortable, and you're just kind of sitting in each other's energies. A lot of people find it awkward. I think that's why it's like tough for me to form relationships, because I mean, naturally, I want to like in a lot of interviews, like everyone will be so on it, answer straight away.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm just kind of like, I'll sit, I'll think about it for a second, and then I'll answer. And that's like how I like to live. And I think it's important to like have that space, create that space for yourself where you can receive.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a lot of where your wisdom comes from, that like, you know, like I saw so early on in you that you have this superpower of observing, like really sitting and observing. And then like when you drop the wisdom, it's like, I love you, but it's not from you. You know, it's from the silence that you create. And it.
Yeah. Wait, what do you mean?
Wait, what?
The cameras.
Edit. It's all me.
Yeah,
But you know what I mean?
it.
Like you're an antenna. And in observing and being comfortable with silence, it's like you get these like shroop, and then you're articulating that when you center in yourself, and observing that you're an observer was really cool. And I think one of the ways we connected, and why the first time hanging, I got your initials tattooed on me.
That also happened.
We got
Second day of hanging. Look at that.
But it's like observing is a superpower, and you know, like they say that I don't know who they is, but I've heard that you can only perceive something in someone else if you have already seen it in yourself, for positive or negative. If you see something negative, it's in you. If you see something positive, it's in you. And I know for me, it's like I love to observe also, and to sit with things and to think about it. So like I saw that and you're like, whoa, he observes. And in my experience, like some people, especially when I was younger, were like, oh, you're shy. But like,
Me too.
I was never shy. Like I never felt shy until someone said it. And then I was like, wait, I am shy. And then you put that on as your identity and becomes part of your shadow, or it can. But it's like a lot of times people who are labeled as shy are just incredibly aware and observant, and you're paying attention. And then that's a superpower. But then that's what happens with superpowers, is there's also a negative, which can be like perceived as something else, but that's not the truth.
Well, that's the power of language, isn't it? It's like you're shy compared to, oh, you're observant.
Right.
Like they're far different energies to
Very different.
project onto someone. Because I was the same, like ever since I was young. It was like, oh, you didn't say much, you're shy. And I was like, I never thought that in the beginning until I was told it. And I'm like, oh, I am shy. And then you start to think, oh, well, you're shy, you don't have anything to say.
Right.
You can't say anything.
Yes, exactly. Or then people start to talk over you, like I just did.
No, this is give back and forth.
But you know what I mean? And then it's like, you get lost because you're like, well, I had something to say, but sometimes the flow of conversation is quicker in our culture at the moment. Mm-hmm. And then the thought is just gone.
But that's like a beautiful thing, and what I will cherish forever is like a lot of these conversations we've had, especially living together over the last 2 or 3 years, have made me realize, like what you were saying before, how it is like an empowering thing within yourself. It took a long time for me to like switch that perspective of like, oh, I am that, but that's a great thing.
Right.
You know? But to also stop saying, I am shy.
Yeah, because it's not really the reality.
I mean, yeah, you are everything and nothing at the same time, I guess.
Yeah.
But to switch the language into it being more empowering for yourself. Because then you're instantly on the front foot instead of being on the back foot.
Yes.
But also, like, and we talk about this a lot, is like from, 2.5, 3 years ago, you were like, I remember you coming out to me and you're like, man, I struggle to like articulate myself properly. And within those 3 years, you've like really seen that and you've honed in on it and you've worked on it. And now you're holding like a piece like this is where like it's mainly talking, which is such a beautiful like transition. And I saw that. I saw the lesson that you wanted to learn, and then I saw like you implement and work on it, and now you're like the butterfly. Yeah. It's awesome.
Dude. Thanks, man.
Anytime.
Yeah, I struggled so hard to I'd have all these ideas and thoughts in my head, but then like being able to speak them or put it into some semblance of like words, like for a long time words just didn't make sense to me. Like how to say something. And part of the unlock was, like you were saying earlier, is knowing who I was and being comfortable with silence. And I think like also getting out of the mind, like if I start to think, I can't speak at all.
Yeah.
If I'm sitting here thinking, what am I going to say to Calum next? Or anyone? Nothing is going to come. But if I turn off the mind and then like, you go into like a party or something or gathering, it's like I'd get so nervous just walking in to like see some friends and like, well, why? Really, why? Like, and then asking myself the question of like, why am I nervous? And almost always it comes back to like, well, you want someone to like you, or you want to look a certain way, or you want to be cool, and then kind of dismantling like, well, why? Why do you want them to like you? Or why do you want to look cool?
External perception.
External perception. And then you strip that away and go like, well, how do I just be? And then in the moment, like, all I have to do is listen and serve someone else.
What do you mean, listen?
Listen meaning like, not just with your ears, but like, listen to pay attention to what's going on around. Like, as you listen to, how do you articulate that? Like, I guess it's paying attention.
Yeah. And that's, I guess, is where it becomes like a challenge. It's like being aware of it, not being...
Thinking.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's like, it shifts the focus from internally, like, what am I thinking? What am I going to do? And it pushes it to like, how am I going to serve instead of what can I get?
Yes. Beautiful.
Like, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, I don't need anything from anybody else.
Tell me about Kid Roy.
Kid Roy. Kid. My name is Kid. Kid Roy. Kid Roy is awesome. He's still here. He's more here than ever, I think. I was very imaginative. I mean, for a few years, my family didn't have a TV when I was a kid. Because, well, partly because when we got a TV, it kept getting stolen. Like, our house got broken into. And so my parents were cool and like, yeah, let's just foster their imagination. So they were like a lot of imaginary games, and my mom would tell stories. Like, she would just make them up, and I thought they were so cool. And she would listen to music and be like,
I love
what
your
instrument is this? My mom is a legend.
Dude, what a beautiful soul.
Yeah,
and
she
your dad
is.
as well.
And my dad. They're amazing. I have such amazing parents.
It's funny though, because like before meeting them, I didn't really have a context of your family. And then after meeting them, like as soon as I met them, I'm like, okay, makes sense.
I get it.
Everything makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. They're so awesome. Yeah, I love being a kid. I fully believed that I was a saber-toothed tiger when I was a kid.
Okay.
100%.
We probably would have got along then.
Yeah. What were you?
I was, well, I used to walk around the playground and like squat like this and run like that. I don't know why. I have no idea. But terrible for my joints now. My hips are in shambles.
Dude. Oh yeah, we would have gotten along.
Yeah, I was a bit of a stud.
Were you outgoing or shy as a kid? Well, not shy. We're
There
taking
you
that
go,
word
there you
up here, labeling you. Observant.
I was definitely quiet. I think I still share a lot of qualities of my younger self, which I actually quite adore. But yeah, I was a quiet kid. I never cried.
Never?
Yeah, never.
What?
Now I cry all the time. You probably hear me at 3 a.m. bawling my eyes out. Never cried, but was always like watching, which is cool. But even as like, a teenager, which is crazy that I'm looking back on a teenager years from a 25-year-old's perspective.
Yeah.
That's scary. I remember I was kind of thinking of like things that I found joyous. Like that's what I kind of associate with being a kid.
Yeah.
That innate like instinct of feeling joy from just doing things.
Uh-huh.
And the first time I wrote a song, pure joy. Terrible song. Pure joy.
But pure joy.
And some of my, from my perspective, worst songs have been like the things that I felt like most fulfilled by.
Uh-huh.
Which is cool to have that like perspective, especially being a musician now. But it's cool having that perspective because, I can always go back to that in terms of like the intention of writing.
That is beautiful to know that place of pure joy when like you weren't thinking about it. You're just doing this to have fun. It wasn't like to make a hit song. It wasn't for anything other than you loved to do it. And so, there is like, you learn and you hone and craft skills like, and then it's almost like you start at pure joy as a kid. Why we get into anything and your attention goes, you need to do this. Mm-hmm. And then you go through the phase of like learning the craft, being good at the instrument, like learning certain things about songwriting. But then you can get stuck in that. And then there's like the next level where then you bring the joy back and you already have all the,
No, exactly. And that's the process of it all. Well, for some people.
Yeah. I mean, I've really enjoyed like over the last couple of years seeing you like just dive into practicing your craft. Like you come home from a tour and just instantly like plug in your bass and start practicing. I was like, dude, who is this person who's just like, I'm gonna be amazing. And then like practicing piano all the time, taking vocal lessons, like all these things. I'm like, wow, you really care, but then also like seeing over the course of even just quarantine alone, like, whoa, all of a sudden you rip at piano.
Oh, thanks, man.
But like, it's inspiring.
And vice versa. You're probably the hardest working creator I know.
That's one of my problems.
Oh, here we go.
Honestly. Because it's like, it's ingrained of like, the harder you work, the more successful you're being. That's not necessarily true.
Yeah.
Like, of course you have to do things, but Like, there was a lot of my life where I'm like, I'm gonna be the hardest working person. I'm gonna write songs for a minimum of 8 hours every single day, but usually 12 hours a day. And it's like, cool, but like, where's the joy? And then what are you talking about? And like, if you're not doing it from an authentic place, you don't know who you are, it's not gonna amount to much. What's something as a child you fully believed that no one else believed?
That no one else believes?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a tough question. That no one else believes.
Yeah, no one else believed.
There's sort of a funny one, but I'm not going to bring that up. I think there's a lot of the band's like trajectory. I had a deep knowing for as a kid. Certain things like I'd pretty big forks in the roads in terms of like what I wanted to do and who I wanted to become, and it always came to the band for some reason, and I didn't at the time know why, but there was a huge gravitational pull towards music. I mean, the other guys knew that as well, so maybe that doesn't count, but
no, that counts, because you have to know it yourself.
Yeah, and it's awesome to be able to look back on that and to like respect the trust of intuition within your younger self.
Oh, wow.
You know, and it's funny because like, you know, the more you evolve, the more I realize that I had a lot of the traits, and I have a lot of the traits, and it's just about remembering them, rediscovering them. I mean, you're capable of becoming anything that you want, really. You just need to remember it. We've had conversations like this before. Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, that's amazing. I mean, but that kind of like, it proves such a universal idea that your younger self was just like, I have faith in this band being a massive band. We're gonna play stadiums. Mm-hmm. We're gonna be doing this, what is it, over 10 years now?
Yeah, it's nearly 10 years, yeah.
So almost 10 years later, and like, you and everyone collectively, I mean, I guess I don't know if everyone collectively, but like fully believed that. Fully believed it as kids. And there's something really profound about that in and of itself. Like when you trust your intuition, whatever that may be, and you fully believe that it's possible and that it already is, and I'm gonna do this, and we're gonna do this, whether it's you or a group or whatever, it will happen and you have to follow it. And it might look different, but there's something profound in that. And like, that's sort of the idea of what manifestation really means. Doesn't mean it just pops out of the air and there's no work involved, but like, you have to fully believe it with every ounce of your being. And like, even for human beings' collective intention of fully believing that is extremely powerful.
Yeah. And I think also the reason why it came was because there was no like want from it. It was like, I mean, for me, it didn't really matter like where we ended up. You know, the intention was so pure from everyone. And I mean, that's probably also like, I mean, naivety can also be a great tool.
Yeah.
So it's important to like, the place where it comes from is from love.
And that is the key, like that's the key, if it's coming from that pure place and from loving the thing and each other. I mean, that's profound, dude, because it's also like a living, walking, breathing example of like what that can look like and the capability that human beings have to create the reality that they want to create. If you do it from a pure place and you trust your intuition, it's like there's a reason why your spirit as a kid just gravitated towards music. It could have been anything, but it's like you have, and all of you have a specific purpose to the reason, even why it's successful. There is a reason, there is a specific thing that you guys bring as a group and individually to the collective consciousness that's important. Truly.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's a really kind thing for you to say.
Not even kind, it's just true.
So how would you explain like universal consciousness?
When I was a kid,
I mean, yeah, or now.
I don't think I'm qualified to
No,
explain universal
I'm not even asking
consciousness.
for anyone watching. I'm asking for me. I'm like, I've got around universal consciousness, this. But if someone was like, what does that mean? I'd be like, it's around.
Essentially, it's the idea that like every thought that you think and that has ever been thought exists. And we don't own any of our thoughts or ideas. And so that's why like any like, even when like Jesus was speaking and he was like, a lot of his words have been so misconstrued, and like that dude was amazing. And there is so much truth in what he was saying. Like he said, paraphrasing, but like like if you kill someone, if you think about killing someone, it's the same as killing someone. Or if you think about doing the act, it's the same as doing the act. And as a kid, like I was like, what do you mean? Like that means nothing. But really what he was talking about, when you look into it deeper, is like, if you're capable of thinking the thought like, I want to kill someone, or I want to steal, or whatever, then that thought goes into the collective consciousness, and it will be grounded by someone. It might not be you, but someone else will pick up that thought, because we're all linked. And like now at this stage of human evolution, we're able to see, like with quantum physics, that our consciousnesses are linked. Like they can scientifically prove that, like we have thoughts, and like, which is the same idea like when you walk into a room or into a party or whatever, or you're just one person, instantly whatever you feel is what the other person's feeling. And if you know that, if you feel nervous, you're like, okay, is that because this other person's nervous? Or the room is a little nervous? Or am I nervous? And then it goes back to knowing yourself, and you go, I have nothing to be nervous about. Okay. And then all of a sudden, as soon as you do that, everyone else's vibe changes. Everyone else's energy changes, because then they are reflecting you. But like, so that's part of you learning to use your intuition, is sort of learning how to use the universal consciousness. When you know if someone's listening to you, if someone likes you without them saying anything. Some of it's body language and things too. But a lot of it's just a feeling you have in yourself. And if you can know yourself and recognize the feelings that you're having, or the sensations that you're having about a group of people or a situation, you know what the reflection is, and then you can change it. That's as far as I can get.
That's a great explanation of it. That's in my mind now. We got that forever.
Sweet.
Yeah, sweet indeed. So why this?
Why this?
Why this?
You know what? I don't really know. Yeah, I think part of what I'm supposed to do while I'm here, one of the things is be a mirror for other people, to like see themselves more.
Mm-hmm.
And I think doing something like this can like hopefully allow people of like all different walks of life. Like I meet so many random people who are so interesting from all sorts of worlds, and always different conversations. And I think the cool part about that is then they are able to see themselves, and I'm able to see myself in a different light, like through every interaction. And like hopefully every conversation that you have, you know, you're changed by the conversation in some way. You get a new bit of information, and you know how I love information.
Dude, you're outside reading, studying every day.
I love it. Someone told me, doesn't matter.
It's like you're constantly in school of life.
Yeah. I enjoy it so much. Someone told me sort of recently that it's like, you just gotta let loose and have fun. And I was like, I was like, I feel like I do. I genuinely love reading.
I feel like I do have fun.
Like it's so fun to me, like sitting and reading and taking notes and like learning about stuff. Great Rising. So I don't know. Everyone's different.
Everyone is different. But that principle is pretty important to have fun.
It is. Sometimes I can be too serious.
Can you?
Yeah.
I mean, everyone can, but
Yeah.
why?
When I think too
or
much.
what with?
When I think too much.
When do you overthink? The way you just looked at me. You were like all the time.
Sounds like a harsh parent. When do you ever think?
No, when do you overthink? Not ever think. When do you ever think,
When do you
Roy?
ever think? When do I overthink? Not as much anymore, but with music, sometimes. Not as much anymore. But like for a lot of years, it was so much overthinking, writing music of like, well, I want to write this to be successful. I want to write this so people like me or think I'm cool or so I can make a living or whatever. And it's like, man, that didn't get me anywhere.
I understand that.
But as soon as I started turning it off, it's like, oh man, stuff that I really care about started coming through.
So is that what you do with your music?
Yeah, now. Didn't always. I didn't know what I was writing. I'd just be like, oh, I'll write some words that sound cool.
Ah, cool words. Pretty enchanting at times.
They are. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's not
No, there's
good or
no
bad.
right or wrong.
Yeah, exactly. But
That's
there's
awesome.
just there's an opportunity there, I think, for artists, and I think that that's starting to happen where people are seeing the value of art because it's gotten so far towards the intellect and less towards the seeding of the subconscious and opening up the heart and like to these truths.
Man, what a blessed way to start the morning.
Seriously.
Yeah.
No other way I would have wanted to spend it.
And to learn a lot.
Likewise.
This is why I'm here, man. To have these conversations, to walk, get out into nature.
Man, that is why we're here. Love you, bro.
Love you too,
So
man.
good.
That's so great.